The peace and tranquility of this wonderful location. It has some unseen aspects to it, and hopefully it'll answer a couple of questions and comments about balance and staying neutral. It's beautiful up here, and there is a danger that always lurks, and that's the lower ego. It's more often described on the lines of there is a term for it. It eludes me at the moment. Something to do with Christ, and the ego can very easily take you into that. It can also, when it gets to this level, it's still there and it's still going to try. I'll show you something in a minute, but we'll look from this highest perspective. It's a perfect reminder what I'm going to show you, but just a little bit of progress. You can probably see by the directly by the fir tree there's the sort of levelled area. There's also a walkway I've now sort of just very roughly put in down to like a circle of stones, like a sacred circle. It's well, I've done a reading on the other channel, an essay by Wagner called Modern. It's something worth listening to and listening to what he's saying, and it links in very much with themes across other channels, specifically what Robert Seifer is showing and Karimio Ahu in a series called Don't Mention the Khazars, and that's exactly what Wagner was showing, and it explains an awful lot about the way history subsequently from the 1850s has been shaped and why certain things have happened. I'll come on to that more on another video, but I'll just show you the beautiful illustration that I can share with you about being in the balance. So here's the progress on the levelled out area. It'll roughly be about 9 foot by 9 foot as an initial footprint, but this is the little reminder I got, and it was a rake. It's now become a comb because it's snapped. I suppose it could be welded, but ideally it would be best if it was completely recast, but it's not wasted. Now I could look at that in the very negative sense of now I'm lacking a rake, which I'm not, because I had a spare rake head which I put to one side, completely forgot about and just found by that inner voice. So I've got a rake again, but what it was is the universe is saying, get closer to the ground, be more grounded, don't let the lower ego run away with you and start preaching from loftier heights and get carried away. So that's a beautiful reminder from the universe about staying in balance, seeing what looked initially like something negative, but then to observe and think, hold on a minute, there's a reason why this has happened. If you subscribe to the idea that this is all part of a fantastic design, which I feel is shown beyond any doubt. So just have a little walk down here. It's basically just, I've just done a bit of a raking, and just a sort of vision that came in my mind. It said you've got like a circle, a natural circle here at this end of this sort of hilltop. So I just laid out a few stones, cleared the interior. It may become something one day. Moon ceremonies, who knows? It would be an idyllic spot. You've got loads of space here. There's loads of potential. There's think it's down here, there's water, or it's the other side of that next section, but lots of development could happen here. I've sort of been getting visions, and also got to consider it's like I'm doing this single-handed, and how much can I actually do? Don't be too ambitious. Again, it's about finding that balance, but there's no time element as such, there's no rush. So it's just do a little bit and then go from there, as it were. So hopefully that's given you an example of how the universe will present you with a script that you can react to in a negative way, which is the case with the rake. That was the example that I was given basically to share. And it's like, no, I'm not taking the negative reaction. There's a reason for this. And then it became, yeah, you need to stay grounded. Listen to what that lower ego is trying to do, where that is trying to steer you. And then come back into balance again. It's like, I acknowledge, and it's, yeah, it's tempting to get carried away with this higher than thou nonsense. Because it is at the end of the day, because all I'm advocating is no different than what other people have had throughout whatever history is. Revelations, divine inspiration, a flash of light inside, whatever label you want to apply to it. And that's the other thing. The words become so poor because they are a man-made thing. They are not directly of creation in the same way that, if you look at this landscape, that's the living picture that is a picture without a frame. It continuously changes. That, should we say, is the creator who is an artist. That's the back scene. Now you as an individual co-creator can paint upon that back scene and create something on it. So that's basically what's happening here. And who knows where it goes. I'm going to run with the assumption that Chinese whispers and history and the way things can get exaggerated, reinterpreted, and it's, let's say that this becomes some sort of sacred ceremonial site, and then in this physical body I am no longer here. We're talking maybe 300-400 years time or something. Just use your imagination on this. And it's got to silly levels of, oh, that was the cup he used, that was that's this position he sat most often. And it's like, don't start making idols out of anything and giving attention and a power to objects and things that don't really matter apart from in the present. They're just of a practical use. like a cup or a bottle with water. Important to stay hydrated, of course, but also keep that in balance with, don't deprive yourself of sodium. If you don't know about the 12 essential salts, that's something worth looking into as a little reminder that's just popped into the mind. So that it's popped into the mind tells me that it is something that I should speak and communicate. This is a sort of, in astrological terms, Mercury's sort of quite a big figure and plays quite a big part, and it is all about communication. But your real communication and the language to learn is that which is inside yourself, listening to what your body is telling you, because it will always tell on the mind. So you get a pain or something somewhere, don't react to it and try and suppress the pain, because it's warning you of something. It's your physical body's like a fire alarm system has just gone off. It's telling you something's wrong somewhere that needs to be addressed. That's all it is. Yes, there may be discomfort with it, but But it's like Lana Alabonte says, you suppress the pain, you suppress the pleasure, because this is a realm of contrast and duality. You've got this fantastic, beautiful, living back scene on which to paint. It is all about art, as I have coined the word nature, where art meets nature, because art is an expression of nature. Always has been, always will be. It is a commentator and trying to express in a way that words cannot, although of course this poetry does a very good job, as well as any of these man-made imaginations and inspirations come into a form on paper, on canvas, on printed music paper, and so on. But it's levels of perception, levels of the veil that will fall away, and my experience being in a location like this, just here alone with, well, you're never alone when you're in nature anyway, the beautiful reminder of staying grounded and just finding that all those negative thoughts, all those I want to get my own back on them for this that they did to me, and whatever's going in the world, it gets to the point where you can't even remember what the topics are in the external world, and your own individual world, the oppositions and things just sort of dissolve away, and the thoughts don't even enter the mind. So effectively, what you do is you flip the polarity. That gatekeeper that is in your mind that says that is not possible, or I don't believe that, or I'm not going to look into that because I just, my present experience and knowledge I've gained is saying to me that's not true, that's not possible. But how do you know? That's your gatekeeper. But when you can transmute it into that fiery angel, now it works for you rather than against you, and it works with you, that it will keep out things. To put it in a modern day terminology, it means that you've recalibrated and finely tuned your bullshit meter, which is basically anything, any of these so-called news stories of all these doom and glooms and disasters and things that are allegedly happening somewhere. And yes, there may be some reality to some of these things. There always is. It's added realism. It is, after all, like a huge, great film applied onto this picture. So I'm going to say love to you all, and hopefully that has given you an illustration of balance. And look into your own lives individually. When something happens that you would perceive is bad, say your car won't start, the battery's gone flat or something like that, don't react to it. There may be something in the unseen. To use a Rudolf Steiner analogy, because that car would not start, you would not be where you would normally be if it's a regular going to work journey, say a daily journey that you do. But by that battery being flat, it has kept you from being involved in a multiple vehicle traffic accident, possibly being fatally wounded or injured or left partially paralysed. Now when you bring that into the balance, what could potentially have happened that has been prevented by the universe because that battery has gone flat, is that such a bad thing after all? One of the themes about man is not to judge, but to just observe and just be. And that is the eating of the fruit from the tree of knowledge, to take a bite of something that's got your attention, and now you're deeming it as good or bad. You've made a judgment on it, but are we supposed to be the judges? Are we not just supposed to be the observers? Are we not gods in the making? which would come with a huge responsibility. And mastering that ability of being non-judgmental, no matter what it is. Because what is often perceived as bad is actually the greatest good, because it is of the greatest benefit if we can see beyond that superficial level to the event in question. Anyway, I've talked even longer now. So Dr. Juan Forfar signing off and saying love to you all until the next episode. I will put the link in the description to the audio reading of Wagner's essay entitled Modern from 1878. Ta-ta for now.